Hey y'all, and welcome back. This is probably one of the last videos that I will be filming in this space. I don't think it will look that much different, so you probably won't notice the change, but we are moving into our new place in a little over a week. So, trying to get ahead a little bit. I don't really think that's going to happen, but we will see. Usually when I come on camera, you guys notice all the time, you always comment and say, oh my god, I love your brows. And you notice they're always done when I come on here. But they're not today because today's video is a brow video. This was one that was very highly requested actually on Twitter. And I did a brow video, I don't know, probably like a year and a half ago, and I really did not know what I was talking about. It's not a bad video, it was what I knew at the time, but I know a lot more now, and it'll probably be a little more informational. One thing I do want to point out before I get into any of this is I am not a brow professional. This is a disclaimer. I do not do brows for a living. I do not have like a degree in brows, if that's even a thing. I just have done a lot of research. I've done a lot with my brows, and this is just coming from personal experience. I am not like a certified brow tech or anything. This is just something that I feel like I've finally gotten down better and thought I would share it with you guys. And every product that I mentioned in this video, I will link down below so you guys can check them out. There are no affiliate links whatsoever. I'm not making anything on this video. I just really want the links to be there so you guys have something to reference if you're interested in a product or want to learn more about it, because I'm not going to be able to go in depth with every single thing that I mention, so they will be down in the description box below for your convenience. My brows are the one thing that I have always been very self-conscious about because I don't have any. They're looking a lot better than they have been. This is probably the best they've ever looked, and that's saying a lot. But look at this. I just don't have any brows. I have spots that are just like totally bald. They have no hair. It's very sparse here, and then we've got like no hair here where there should be. They're a mess. So to get started, what I really want to do is just go through a quick rundown of products with you, basically from the most beginner, user-friendly to the most advanced, and just kind of take you through the whole spectrum of them. So the first product that we're going to start with is brow gel. Alright, this is super awkward for me because I'm not wearing any makeup in this video, so you guys can have more of like a clearer view of the brows, and there's nothing else, you know, on my face, and we're so close. So we were starting off talking about clear brow gels, and what I mean by clear is they're just there to keep your brow hairs in place. So say in this case, my brow hairs like to go every way except the right way. And for me, the right way is to have them go kind of up and at an angle, and that's where they look the fullest. So what I would do is I have a clear brow gel here. This is the Sleek Makeup Clear Brow Gel, and it looks just like a mascara wand. And all you would do with the clear gel is run it through your brows and brush them in the direction that you want them to stay. So in my case, I like to brush them up and at an angle, kind of like at a 45-degree angle, and that's where they tend to look the fullest. And you can already tell the angle that I like. There's definitely a little more definition now, but there's no color, nothing crazy. All it's going to do is hold it in the spot that I like all day long. Brow gels also come in tints. So one of my favorite tints is the Hourglass Arch Brow Volumizing Fiber Gel, and this is in the shade Blonde. I'm going to take a makeup wipe and take off the clear gel so that my brows are just back to, you know, like the baseline here, just all over crazy. With a clear gel, you're getting some hold, but no color. With a colored gel, you're going to get a little bit of both. Now, what I want you to see with this, so here's the Hourglass one. It's going to give my brows a little more color, which is nice because I do have very fair brows and it's nice to have them look a little bit darker. But it'll hold it in place all day long, but what you'll notice is these areas here that are already really sparse, like right here and up here, they're not going to look any less sparse, because if you have areas that are bald or sparse, there's nothing for the gel to grip onto, so nothing happens there. What I want to do with each product that I talk about is give you some budget options as well as some higher end options to kind of suit all of your needs. So as far as budget options go for brow gels, you can't go wrong. There's a NYX one that comes in quite a few shades. There is one from Essence that I think that one only comes in like 3 shades, but it has a great hold and it's a fiber gel. And the best one, honestly, that I can recommend is go for the Shop Miss A. It's like AOA Studio brow gel. I think it comes in 4 or 5 shades plus a clear shade, and they're all $1. If you're going high end, the Hourglass one is amazing. It is super strong hold. Your brows do not move all day long. Benefit has a really good one too, but the best one I can find, and I think it's absolutely worth the investment even if you're a beginner, is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel. And you can use brow gels in conjunction with any other product that I talk about. A lot of times it helps to use a gel when you're using like a pencil or a pomade, because if you use a slightly different shade than the other products that you use, it gives your brows a little more depth, a little more dimension, and makes them look a lot fuller and, in my case, real when you don't have a whole lot to begin with. Okay, so say at this point you're like, man, I've mastered brow gels. I guess the next item that I would say is kind of like the natural progression is a brow pencil. Brow pencils can come in any kind of form. There's ones like this e.l.f. one here they're considered self-sharpening, and this is kind of like the NYX ones and the Anastasia Beverly Hills ones. And then you have ones that look like a true like number 2 pencil, and that's kind of like this one. This is the Catrice one. This is my favorite if you're going for a pencil, and it literally just looks like a pencil. Most pencils will also come with something called a spoolie on the end, and it looks like this. It almost looks just like a little piece of pipe cleaner, and this is going to really help you spread the color out through your brows, and I'll show you how to use it in just a second. So I'm going to go ahead, I think I decided on this brow so I can show you the difference. I can leave it on this brow and then we'll do this brow with something else. The reason I picked a pencil next is because a pencil is so versatile. You can go the whole range from natural to dramatic with just the amount of pressure that you put on your eyebrow with the pencil. So actually, let's go ahead and take a step back first, because in order to fill in your brows with the pencil, you kind of need to know the shape pretty well. And while I don't necessarily agree with this method that I'm about to show you, I think it's great, but I think it's just a great starting point, because I'm a very firm believer that you should do whatever you like with your brows. There is no right or wrong shape for you. You do what you like. Basically, there's 3 points on your brow. You have the beginning of the brow, you have the arch, which is the highest point of your brow, and then you have the tail. And there's a way to figure out what all 3 points should be just using like a straight line across your face. So let me show you that real quick. I'm going to use this pencil to mark it out while I do it. So the start of your brow should be, if you line this pencil up with the edge of your nose right here before you come out to the nostril, you want to line it straight up with the edge of your nose, straight vertical, and this is where the beginning of your brow should be. The arch of your brow should be, you go from the edge of your nostril and you want this your straight line to go right through the center of your eye. So right through the pupil. So you're going to take this, line it up with your nostril and your pupil. And this should be where my arch is. There. Right here. And finally, the tail of the brow. Your brow should end if you take the line from the edge of your nostril and line it up with the corner of your eye. The end of your brow should be right here. So we're going to brush the brow hairs in the direction that we want with the spoolie, and you want to trace the outline of your brow. So I like to start on the bottom first because that's usually where I have the least hair. So I just like to follow the end of my brow here. Take your time. That is the bottom of my brow, and now after we do the bottom, I like to go into the top, which is usually a lot easier because I actually have like a line up here. So I'm going to draw the same line. I like mine parallel, but you can do whatever you want. Just like that, and I'm going to stop where it said that my arch should be. And you'll notice I did that on both the top and the bottom. I stopped where that brow mapping basically said that my arch should be. So now, from the 2 points that we designated as this is where the arch should be, I'm going to draw a line and meet it where it said the tail should end. Now we're going to go from here and there's the bottom line. And now we're going to go from this point here on the top, the very top of the arch, and I'm going to connect it to this point that we already made down here. Now obviously this is a little rough, but you can see that mapping out your brow like that really helped define a shape for me, and that's what I think is really helpful about this. So at this point, now that you have the shape, all you need to do is fill it in. You can use little quick flicks of your wrist like this. That gives you more of a hair-like stroke, or you can go a little bit, press a little harder, you get a little more payoff and a little more depth of color. You also want to make sure you don't go too heavy-handed right up here in the front, because naturally your brows are very light there. Not necessarily sparse, but they're very light. So you want to make sure to take an extra light hand up here in the front and just kind of feather it out. Use about half the pressure that you used on the rest of your brow. And at this point, you can go ahead and go back in. If you don't like the hold, you think your brows are going to be moving around all day, because mine would be, you can go back in with your gel, so your clear or your tinted gel, and just make sure you brush the hairs in the direction that you like, and that is where they will be staying all day. There are a lot of amazing options for brow pencils out there as well, and at every end of like the budget spectrum. So my favorite, like I mentioned earlier, is the Catrice Eyebrow Stylist. This one only comes in 3 shades, so it's a little disappointing. But if you have a hard time finding a good ashy blonde shade, this is the best one. I absolutely recommend it. It's not taupe, it's lighter than that, and I really like it. NYX has a really good one too. It's the Micro Brow Pencil. That comes in so many shades, so they have a wonderful shade range. And I think the high-end ones here, I almost feel like they're kind of obvious because so many people talk about them all the time. And that's the Anastasia Beverly Hills. There's a Brow Wiz. That one's really good. It's basically the NYX Micro Brow Pencil, just more expensive. And then Benefit also has a really great range of brow products, and they do accommodate a wide range of shades. So those are all really good pencil options. Now, if you are comfortable with a pencil, and you're like, okay, it's still not giving me the payout that I want, then it's time to move on to a pomade. If you're looking for that traditional Instagram brow, that really bold brow, how you get them is a pomade. It's definitely the boldest option, it's the most opaque option, but it's also it's not as easy to fix if you make a mistake. So pomades look like this. I know it's a mess. This is a pomade. This is it's like an eyebrow gel in a little container. And this is where you're going to need a little brush to apply it. You want an angled brush, usually. Depends what your preference is, what you find works for you. But to start out, I do recommend an angled brush. The thinner the brush is, the easier it is going to be to draw the lines and do the right strokes with a pomade. My favorite brow brush at the moment is this Kat Von D, I don't actually know what it's called, but it's the number 70 brush. And it looks like this, but it has the thinnest little tip. I don't even know if you can see it that well. There you go. See, it goes down to like this razor thin tip, and that's what makes pomades this is what makes pomades easy. The thicker your brush tip is, the more it's not going to look as precise. It's going to look kind of muddy, and it's more of a mess than it is if you have a really thin brush. But some other really nice ones, I think Miss A, like Shop Miss A, makes a pretty good one. Yeah, this is the AOA Studio E116. This is also a pretty nice one. It's not quite as thin, but it definitely does a good job. We're going to start off the same way that we did with the pencil. So take a spoolie and brush those brow hairs in the direction that you want them to stay, the direction that you like them. And now you're going to take your pomade and your little brow brush, and you're going to just tap it in. You don't want to take too much product, but you want enough on there that's going to last you long enough to at least make a line. You're going to angle it so that the point is towards you. It makes stuff easier no matter what eye you're working with. You want the point of the brush towards your nose, and you want it angled away. And just like with the pencil, you're going to start out on the bottom and draw that line. Actually, here, let's map it out again. Edge of my nose up. This is where my brow should start. Edge of your nostril and through your pupil. That is my arch. That's not quite right, but it's okay. And then edge of your nostril through the corner of your eye. That's where the brow should end. And you're going to start drawing the same lines like we did with the pencil. So I'm going to draw a line on the bottom all the way until I get to this arch point here. When I do the line on the top, I only like to start about halfway here because otherwise it looks really harsh in the front. So we're going to start about the halfway point. All the way to the arch point. And then same thing like we did with the pencil, we're going to draw a line from the arch point down here to the end point. And same on the top, arch point to end point. How you fill in the rest of your brow is up to you, but I like to take the same amount of pomade each time and just kind of start out with little quick strokes that look like hairs. Basically just gonna flick your wrist. And that's gonna give you the most natural look. Now if you really want to go bold, like Instagram brow bold, you're gonna just start taking the pomade and filling in all of those little empty spaces where you can still see skin, which is basically my whole brow because I don't have any brow hair. One thing that I do make sure that I do is I try to keep a very light hand up at the front of my brow because, again, doing your whole brow the same shade it looks weird and it doesn't look natural at all. So if you do want it to look more natural, it's important to kind of leave this front portion with just a few little like quick flicks to fill in some of the gaps. But not to go overboard. Don't go too heavy-handed. Alright, and now I'm just going to wipe away all those little marks that we made when we were mapping out the brow. But let's say you made a mistake with the pomade like I did. I made an intentional mistake, but I took the pomade too low down here, so how do I clean it up now? Well, you can use a concealer to clean up your brows and cut them. And it really just cleans them up, makes them look really fresh, really nice, neat edges. And you can even do it if you're not using a pomade. You can use it on just a regular brow. You can use it even on your natural brow just to kind of clean up any stray hairs. So what I like to do is take a concealer and I'll put it here on the back of my hand. I like to use a nice flat brush for this that also kind of comes to like a decently fine point. Just honestly, any flat brush is great. I'm gonna run it in the concealer and I'm just gonna trace the line that I made on the bottom. The way I started out was just tapping down a line. And then kind of making sure it's all connected. And then just correct the parts where you made the mistake with your concealer. If you want really clean lines, you can do the same thing that we just did here on the top. It's a little more difficult because of the angle that you have to go at, but you can start from the edge, work your way down, and blend out. That took some practice for me, don't worry. that will not always turn out that pretty. And then do the same thing on top, so just follow the line that you created. And you can take it to the front too. And just clean everything up a bit. And take your time. It took me a long time to be able to even do these top lines. I zoomed you guys back out and then I realized I didn't really talk about the pomades that I liked. The best budget pomade is the Miss A, the AOA Studio pomade. It is $1. Absolutely worth it. NYX makes some good pomades as well. If you're going high end, I highly recommend actually the Kat Von D one because this does not budge. You could sit in a pool with your head underwater for an hour, like if you were a turtle, I guess, and it would still be there. And then the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow, also a really good option. Alright, so I think that is it. I felt like I just talked a lot, and I don't know how helpful any of this is going to be, or you know, if you guys are going to like it or not, but let me know down in the comments below if there's something that I missed, something else that you would like to see, something that, you know, you think I should have talked about, because I would really, really like to know. And just keep in mind that what you see on somebody else that you might like may not work on you, and vice versa. That is okay. It's all about what works best with your eye shape, your face shape, and what you like. So even if you don't have the arch that you want, or it's just not it's not angled the way that you want, you can always make it do those things with these different products. I create hairs up here in front where there are no hairs. So you do you, you do what you like, what makes you feel best and most confident. If you guys did find this video helpful, or if you just like the video in general, please do give it a big thumbs up. It helps me out a ton. And if you guys like my content, consider subscribing. I post every Wednesday and Saturday at 5 p.m. Central Time, as well as I also post around the same times on my Instagram, as well as usually Mondays, but sometimes I try to post 3 times a week on Instagram. Just stuff that I'm playing around with, things that I'm not comfortable doing a tutorial on because I'm bad at it. And like I said, please don't forget to subscribe if you guys do enjoy these videos. I hope you guys are having an awesome week, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye guys.